Hey guys, Tyler from TGK Motorsport here. Today's video we are going to go over the install of our 4-inch 4.0T intake system. This is an inlet and an intake. The kit is going to come with everything that you see here. So of course the main piece is going to be the cast 4-inch piece. You're going to have a silicone elbow. You're going to have your 4-inch filter. You're going to have 2 clamps for the filter into this. You're gonna have like an adapter pipe that's gonna go between here and here, so you have something to clamp to. All the hardware and all the clamps. And then this is gonna be a boltable like hose kit that goes gonna bolt right onto here. A 5mm Allen with it's gonna be a ball ended, a swivel, various extensions, a T30 triple square, preferably a longer one. I mean, whatever works for you or whatever you have. A ratchet. The most important tool you're gonna need is the ball-ended Allen. Extension one is gonna be the most important. Has to be a 5mm. It is gonna be what you're gonna use to get underneath to get the bottom bolt, the one that's the hardest to get. But this tool makes it super easy. Now, the car that we are installing the intake system on is a V8. This kit is designed for the C7, S6, S7, RS6, and RS7. It will fit on here, so if you have a 4.0 swapped V8, let me know. Obviously, it's going to show that it's going to fit. So the install is going to be generally the same. The only thing that's the difference is in this video is we did not remove the factory airbox. So you're gonna have to remove that. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just like wrenches and you just pull it out. So now we are gonna dive into this and I'm gonna kind of explain everything the best that I can. I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Jay from JXP Performance. He always lets me use his shop. The car that we are going to be installing on today is his 4.0 swapped manual S4. He's gonna let me use it for obviously the intake's sake. So I definitely want to give him a plug out for that. If you need like drive shaft carriers, he's your guy. Now obviously this is a B8, but the intake install is going to be the same. The inlet, I mean, it's still a 4.0. The only thing that's going to be different is you're going to have to remove your factory airbox. If you have it, I don't know, I mean it depends on what you have on your car. We already removed the pipes that were on here. They take too long to take out, so I did it before we started filming. So we are going to start with the inlets first. So first we are going to remove like all the hoses, the resert hoses, all the hose clamps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. You need a pliers, a flathead, a T30 triple square, and then that's it for this part. Depending on your car, you might have hose clamps, you might have like permanent clamps. You can cut those off. I supply all the hose clamps you need for all the hoses, so you're not gonna need those anymore. Holy shit. Now after everything is basically removed from the area, it's gonna be a T30. There's gonna be 6 of them. They're all in here. There's 2 ways that I've known to remove these silicone hoses. I typically I just stick a flathead in here and then I walk it out. Everyone else, it seems, just removes the bolts and then they tip it up. Be sure not to wreck your gasket, your throttle body gasket. You can potentially do that. Some intakes, if you have another aftermarket, some of them you can't get to the bottom bolt here, so you might have to do it another way. The bolt down here is in the way, so I'm going to remove it the typical way that I do. So what I do is I just take a flathead, stick a flathead in here, pulling it all the way up, push the silicone down, pull it down. Now you gotta be careful doing this. I probably should have removed the bolts or the hose clamps. Sometimes you can finesse it. Up and out, around, and out. After you got the silicone hoses removed, you remove all 6 bolts. This one is still somewhat attached. You'll be pulling it off. Make sure your gasket's good. Get all your hardware out. You'll be unplugging these. Just pull them. Pull the tab out. Pull it out. Now we got this removed. We are going to be removing the other hose here for the PCV. If I can get in there. Now with the 2-piece design, you have to obviously remove the driver's side first because you cannot get at the passenger side. So we are going to remove the driver's side. On this car, it was a 5mm Allen. I'm going to use a ball-ended Allen just for the sake of this tool. Just works absolutely amazing for all of this. Remove them. Same with the bottom one, ball-ended Allen. Get right in there. All right, after you remove the driver's side, you obviously got to remove the passenger side. So it's the same 5mm Allen. So since our inlet is a 1-piece design, obviously you have to get all 4 bolts and you can't just take off one side and take off the other. So what we did is we put a provision in where you will take the bolts that's supplied, thread it basically all the way in, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of snap it in, and then you're gonna get the rest of the 3. When you're all done, you can just use the little Allen, the ball-ended Allen you have, and just get it down to torque. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna stick it through. If you have a Sharpie, just kind of make a mark with your Sharpie. Super easy. And you're going to take that, you're going to thread it in to the mark. Obviously the head end of the Sharpie, that's going to be the closest. And we'll just kind of 1 or 2 turns back just to give you some space. Next, what you're gonna have to do is you have your little gaskets. They're tiny. What I do is I'm gonna supply a little thing of grease. Kind of just put a little dab of grease in there as a placeholder. To kind of seat your absolutely tiny gasket in there. Now hold it while you're doing your install. Don't have to worry about losing it. Right coming out of the seat. Now that you have your gasket on, you're basically gonna go down, tip it in, From there, you're gonna look down at your hole. I can thread mine in probably 2 turns. Less I have to do with the ratchet, the better. I'm just gonna go right past that mark. Now that that's in, you're gonna grab another bolt. You're gonna thread this one in. Get it started. There we go. You're gonna attach the passenger side first. You're gonna start them. So I would start them. Then you're gonna get this one started. There is slots cut in here just in case clocking is off just a little bit. If you have aftermarket turbos and you didn't have your clocking perfectly exactly how it was supposed to be, there is legroom in here. If this is off just a hair, what you can do is you can remove your clamp here, loosen it up, clock your turbo a little bit, tighten your clamp back down, and then go back in, put your bolt in, and you should be good to go. So now after you got everything torqued down, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna have your extended ball-ended socket, you're gonna wanna have a swivel, and a extension. Now what I do is, I basically make it like a V. You go out, underneath, if you look over here, you can kind of guide it. It's gonna be really, you can't really see it in video, but you get it up in the bolt eventually. So next what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your little adapter, you're gonna take the single gasket, you're gonna put the gasket in there, then this. Okay. You got that piece on, tighten up your hose clamp. Once you got that pipe on, you're gonna put your throttle body back on, take your harness, plug your harness in, plug your other harness in, click it. So what you're gonna do for the bottom one is, you're gonna just get it enough, just kind of set it in there, set the throttle body in there so it sits there. Get all these others started. The T30 Torx. You're gonna, a nice way to do to get threads is spin it backwards and then get it by hand. Do not use like a ratchet. You can easily strip out these plastic threads, which you don't want to do. After you got these tightened down a little bit, they're not going to take a lot of torque. They're plastic threads. Just get them, as you can tell, I'm using a tiny ratchet. Just get it just snug. Good. Now we're going to put our harness back. Throttle body harness goes on, clips. Just clips on there. This one clips, I don't know why this one came off, but that clips down there. Got your hose. You're gonna feed the hose on over to barb end. Okay. Take your tie down, tighten it down. 2 shorter ones go right here. So those are all started. Now you're gonna grab this side. Kind of sits like, orientates like this. So I'm gonna grab the other hose clamp. Same thing over here. Longer one goes here. 2 shorter ones go here. And then use a T30 Torx. After that, we are gonna put our silicone hoses back on. So I found the best thing to do is fold them in half. This is the way I do it. People might say otherwise, but I just fold it in half like this. Squeeze it in the center right here. They're on. Same thing for this one. Fold it in half. Now, if you have aftermarket ones, they might be way stiffer than these. These just work nice. So the way that I found is best is to have these angled here, 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 and here. So what I do is obviously just shoot it through, tighten it up. So after you get your hoses on, don't forget your vacuum hose, or your boost hose technically. Just goes back on, get your clamp. So what you're gonna do next is you're gonna take your clamp, thread it out to barely anything left. These just fit over. So what I'm gonna do is, I personally like to make them so it's hidden. So I'm gonna set this here with this end facing up on the back. You're gonna take your silicone pipe, set it on, stick my hand in, feed it over. Oop. And this is gonna come over here, right there. So now that you got the tube on, I just take this, take a flathead, kind of force it down. It's very tight. Once it's in, beautiful. Okay, let's get that on. Filter in, get them all orientated the same way. Remember, it will stick through on the bottom. So the clamp, the big 4-inch clamp is a 12. I forgot to put that in the parts list of tools you need. Just sit there and do the same over here. I like to make sure that I'm clamping the pipe. Flathead. That concludes our install of our 4.0T intake system. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out, shoot me an email. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Please follow Jay. He's helped me a lot. He's helped the community a lot. That's the least I can do, thanking him for allowing me to do this to his race car. Thank you.